Hey everyone, thank you guys for tuning in for the next video in our e-bike light group review and roundup. Today we're going to be talking about the Orbea Rise, a 140, 150 mil, 29-inch wheeled mid-power e-bike. Let's get into it. So the Orbea Rise is the only bike in the group review to be powered by the Shimano EP801 RS drive unit. It has a 540 watt-hour battery, which is also the largest battery of all the bikes here in the group test. Pros and cons are, I guess you got 60 Newton meters of torque, the biggest battery, but you also have the largest profile and the most noticeable motor, right? Because the 801 RS is essentially just the full-size EP8 drive unit tuned down to 60 Newton meters to make it a little bit less thirsty for those battery bars. It does have the updated display and control unit here, which are nice updates from the outgoing Rise. Overall, a pretty solid bike with prices at $52.99 up to $11,499. The M-Team we have here comes in at $94.75. Orbea's My O program allows for customization from build spec to paint. However, this paint job here is pretty beautiful. Let's get into the Geo on this 43.3 pound e-bike. 474 reach, 627 on the stack height, 336 mil bottom bracket, 445 chain stays, 1,238 mil wheelbase, and a 76.5 seat tube angle and a 65.5 degree head tube angle. So climb performance and kind of geometry fit on the way up. Nick, what do you think?
Feels great. The fit is good. It's got a good seated position for me. Okay. Cockpit's just right at like in that 480 range. It feels really well, really good. The power is obviously lower on the scale, but not bad. I think that this rewards you for a little bit of effort. Feels very similar to other Shimano systems torque-wise, but is a little bit louder than some of the other ones we've tested. It's the quietest Shimano system I've ever used. Okay. But it's still a little bit louder than a few of our systems we tried.
Yeah, a few of the the Fotzwas and
the TQ is a lot quieter than this.
Yeah, yeah.
But it also offers the Shimano dealer support's amazing. It's huge. You can get these pretty much anywhere now, so that's kind of cool. Yeah. And the climbing up, I felt like this bike for the Geo is really good. It snaps switchbacks, no problem. It stays planted in a lot of the techie high, lower speed climbs that we had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sean, what were some standouts for you?
I mean, yeah, like Nick said, it climbed really well. I think it's a little bit. For 60 Newton meters, I felt when I was riding it yesterday that you were pulling away from me when you were on the pivot. Okay. And assuming you were in trail mode. And when I was in trail, the gap was just getting longer and longer and longer. But I mean, aside from that, it's a good climber. It's a solid trail bike.
One of the things that I kind of liked about the Orbea is that you could get a very different feel out of the suspension platform by plus or minus a few PSI, changing your sag. So, if you're going to go out and ride smoother groomed trails or, jump lines, you air up a little bit. And if you're going to go ride rough, chunky stuff, you could just air down, and then you'd have a very nice plush feeling rear end. I think overall it was a pretty solid and capable bike. It was fun, it was playful. I noticed there was a couple instances where the back tire would hit something. I think you were behind me yesterday on that one trail, and I don't know if you just saw my back tire coming up in the air a few times. Some of them were intentional and some were not, but it just felt like every once in a while the rear end would kind of I don't want to say it would hang up, but it would just hit something and get a little bit more airborne than I wanted it to. So that was something that I would say led to a couple instances where the Rise just had some quirks to it. But by and large, those were very few and far between and on pretty extreme case terrain. I would say for the most part, a really well-rounded and capable all-around trail, all mountainy type bike.
Absolutely. And I mean, with like opting for that 540 battery, you could run it in boost longer, or you just get way more range than everybody else.
At a real similar weight to a lot of the others that are running in the the mid 300s. It's just a really solid package. Like, it goes up really well. It descends very competently.
Yeah, there was definitely, like, you know, some of the days we'd finish because it's getting real hot out here, and we'd come back, have a little lunch break, and this would be a bike that we'd be like, oh, we actually don't have to plug this in for lunch. And then the other bikes were like, I hope it charges enough before the next ride, you know? So that's pretty cool, and I think could be important for a lot of people who want to maximize range. Downsides of the bike for you?
If you have it set up to more of that soft and plush, you're going down steep technical terrain, and then you switch over right away to like a jump trail, I think it's almost essential to give yourself a little less sag on the jump trail. So like you said, while it can do a lot of things, I think that you definitely have to dial it in for what you're riding that day.
Yeah, I kind of felt like if you had the bike set in that kind of plush air setting, you know, the bike would ride or feel a little bit heavier, you know, but I mean, it's 43.3 pounds, so it wasn't the heaviest bike, you know, but it just kind of road planted, you know, and so giving it air would kind of give it a little bit more of a lively feel. Sean, like, any cons or big pros, or who you'd recommend this bike for?
Pros are obviously battery, and then Orbea's MyO program is I would say that's
awesome.
A big pro.
Yeah.
Just to be able to kind of outfit whatever model you want to go with. And I mean, the Shimano's, I think it's a reliable motor system.
Agreed.
But some commenters out there might disagree. And I mean, yeah, it's a solid, well-rounded bike for a lot of people, I think.
Yeah.
So out of 10, what do you give this bike?
I'm gonna give this a solid 8.
Okay.
Eight's a solid number, I think.
Yep. I'm on board. I think that this is probably one of the easiest decisions. I have to think a lot about them, but yeah,
I would take this bike. It's great.
It's a good all-around bike. Yeah, it didn't necessarily stand out or like blow us away in any particular spot, but it also didn't really have any areas where we were struggling with it either. So a solid bike all around, and yeah, something worth considering. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the rest of the series as we work towards our grand finale and roundtable to see where this bike stacks up against the other field of competitors. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and thanks for watching. We hope to see you out on the trails.